Hello, I am making this video to help people who are PCSing overseas. We just PCSed to Okinawa from San Diego, Camp Pendleton. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you an overview of what we did, things that were helpful, some resources maybe that will make the process less confusing or less crazy. I probably spent weeks on the phone just trying to figure this stuff out on my own. So hopefully this is a good video to help some people with some things that didn't make much sense to me. So I made like a list, so bear with me while I try to figure this out. So PCSing to Okinawa, things I wish I knew. We started with our passports. Well, kind of. We really started with like overseas screening, but I was like 6 months pregnant when we found out we were moving, and COVID had just started happening, and it was just like hell. Like everything was closed down. We couldn't really do anything. There was no real like resources we could use because literally everything was shut down. So we did the best we could, but as I said, I was pregnant and COVID and all that stuff. It was just like hectic. But we did start with overseas screening. However, I couldn't do anything with that because I was pregnant and they wanted to wait till the baby came. And our orders got pushed back. So we were supposed to leave in May and they pushed it back to August. And that was great for us because we didn't have anything. No passports, no baby yet. It was crazy. Starting with passports, I would start by calling or emailing PTO on base. Get an appointment as soon as you can. They are so booked. As of like 2 weeks ago, I think, there was 1.6 million passports in processing, and it's on first come first served basis. So if you put in a passport now, it's like you need to get on the phone and even call like travelstate.gov, the like wherever your passport is going to be sent to get processed. You need to get on the phone and call them so that they can speed things up for you and let them know you're on military orders to go overseas. And that really helped for us. They like overnighted it to us, which was insane. Second thing about having your passport or getting that passport process done, I would suggest doing both passports, like your military one and the civilian passport, just because it will save you in the long run if you think about it. Because when you come over, if you want to go to Japan or you want to go anywhere else, you already would have those passports, and it might be quicker one way or the other. I'm not sure. The other thing with passports, so things you will need for your appointment that they don't really, it seems like they don't tell you it all at once, or you keep having to ask because it's really confusing on the paperwork. One thing is you're gonna need your pictures taken at the combat camera, and that has to be done before your appointment. So you need to have 2 photos, and you should probably wear something that's like nicer, and it has to be civilian clothes. So if you're in the military, that's only relevant to you. The other thing you're gonna need is a copy front and back of your ID and your sponsor's ID if you're going overseas, married. And then you're gonna need all your information, like social security numbers, birth certificate information. You want to have all that on hand because for filling out your form, the DS-11, which is the passport application, you need to have all that information on hand, because if you don't, it's going to be really difficult to do any of this. And you send in your birth certificate with your passport. So I would also recommend getting copies of your birth certificate if possible, and you can do that by contacting Vital Records office in the state you were born. And there is a fee. I think it's $25 or $65. I know that's kind of a jump, but I can't really remember the specific on that one. Mine was easy because I'm in California, so I already had mine, like I was able to get it because I'm closer, and I wasn't from out of state, so it might be harder if you're not in the same state you were born in, which with military I know can be pretty common. However, it is possible. Okay, so for that, oh, the other thing you need is Form DD 1056, Block 18F, signed in blue ink by S1 Chief. So that's really for military, the spouse, or if you're just in the military. And then your official your official orders and your 1610 approved DTS orders. You're also going to need to, where is it? Oh, you're gonna need your passport to be filled out online. So you're gonna go to travelstate.gov. You're gonna go to passport forms, which is like a tab on the website, and then you're gonna scroll down to the most common passport forms, which is on that page, and then you're gonna click a little link. It's like in blue and it says form filler. When you do the form filler, make sure that you double check all of it, so none of your information is incorrect, and then you're gonna print that out and make sure it has the barcode on it. And you have to do it kind of all at once on that website because you can't like stop and start. It's just finish it and print it. So make sure you have the birth certificate, social security numbers for you and your spouse, and like you know, where you were born, all that stuff on hand, just so that it's really simple and you don't have to worry about it. And then have that all that, you probably want a binder, put it all together and have it ready to go when you go to your appointment. Because if you don't have all that stuff, you're just gonna have to go back, and it's limited appointments because it's so busy and just all that hectic stuff. So there's that. And below in the like link or whatever down below, I'll have all those numbers and emails for those different sites and people. Okay, so after that, for the overseas screening, it's pretty like it seems cut and dry, but it's kind of difficult. You have to get your dental screening done. So because of COVID, they weren't allowing spouses on base, so we had to go off base, and I just went to my regular dentist, and I'm pretty sure anyone can find a dentist that takes TRICARE, but I went there and I had to get x-rays done and just an exam and a letter that they wrote out for me, which was really cool. And it just said like, oh, your teeth are all good, you're not gonna have any issues, no gum disease, no nothing like that. And then they sent that to the dental office, and then the dentist on base had to just sign it up, and that was that. And that part of the paperwork for the overseas screening was done. And then for the medical part of the overseas screening, I also had to just go on base, and you just have to have like, for females, it's like a pap, and then you need to have your blood titers done and get up to date on all your vaccines. And if you don't have your vaccines, they won't not approve you to go overseas, but they recommend that you get them. The other thing you needed for that, I'm pretty sure, actually that might be it, but just getting an appointment during COVID was like pulling teeth. So that being said, the second part, so after you do all your overseas screening, then you make another appointment to have them review it, then it gets sent to Japan so that they can say, yes, you're good to go, and then you're good to go. So then we brought our dog with us, and this part was like so stressful because there was not like a very clear information about what to do, and it was so frustrating. But this is my list, this is my checklist to get this done. Call PTO and let them know you're bringing your pet with you. That way it's like already on the stuff, like already on the airplane, like they're getting you a spot for your animal to go with you, because it's really hard to get spots for pets. And we were lucky because our dog was little and he could just go in like a soft case and fly with us in the cabin. But people with big dogs, it's really hard, especially to fly under the plane. So call your vet, make an appointment, let them know you're PCSing. You'll need your pet to be microchipped. It needs to be iOS, and that's just a certain kind of microchip that they can actually like scan in Japan. The other thing, you will need 3 rabies vaccine documents, so just like stating that your animal has had all the rabies, is up to date within the last year. And then you want it all signed in blue ink by a base vet, so it has to be on the military installation. Then after you get all that done, they'll like update, they just like do all the shots and all the stuff. Most like an on-base vet will know what to do for PCSing, but you also want to like follow up, make sure you kind of have an idea. So then they do a flavin test, which is what starts your quarantine, because dogs and cats have to be quarantined for 180 days prior to coming to Japan. They can finish their quarantine in Japan, but that means they're away from you, they're in a kennel, or they're at a foster home, so better if they can stay with you. So then you also have to notify Japan at least 30 days before arriving, to let them know that you're bringing an animal into Japan. It's just like a courtesy thing, and they have to approve it. However, if you're flying on a military flight like an AMC, I guess they don't require it, because when I emailed them, they said it was like nice to let them know, but they didn't need that, because when we get here, we actually have to register him as a, like, for I think it's $30 to get him like registered to live in Okinawa, but that's only if you're off base. So if you're on base, it's not actually that difficult with the pet flying in if you're doing a AMC flight. The other thing you need is a health certificate for your dog. So that has to happen within 10 days of your departure. So if you're leaving like on the 20th, you want to get that paper signed on like the 18th, so that it's good for 10 days, because it's only good for the 10 days. So if there was any delays or anything, you want to get it signed as close to your departure date as possible. That way you don't have to have any issues there. And if you're trying to bring your animal as an ESA animal, make sure you have all that paperwork lined up, and it can't be signed by an MD. So if you have an ESA animal, make sure that paperwork, you have a letter from a mental health professional or a psychologist. Has to be mental health. It can't be an MD, it can't be a doctor. So that's another thing. To fly in cabin for our dog was $125 in a soft case. It was 18 inches long, 11 inches wide, and 11 inches tall. He stayed in the case for the duration of the flight, and we gave him water while we were on the flight. There was really no issue. He was pretty good about it. He tried to escape maybe a little bit, like he just would try to like get out of his case, but he couldn't, so that was good. So yeah, that's like the flying part of it, I guess, and all that. And then for picking a hotel, if you are getting stationed, well, I guess any of the bases, but if you want to be able to have your dog stay in the hotel with you, Camp Hansen has Hansen Inn, and it's a newly built hotel here, and you can have your dog stay with you for $10 a night, and that's pretty amazing considering the other hotels, you can't have your animals stay in the rooms with you, they have to go get kenneled. So I would suggest staying at Hansen Inn, that way you don't run into those issues. And it's really, really nice. Like, it's a super, super cool hotel for sure. Full kitchen, refrigerator, the full thing. And then, so things that we wish we would have been told before PCSing. One of them is IPAC is going to be really frustrating. So keep calling them, call them about everything. To get area clearance was such a headache, and doing that like is how you get housing out here. So make sure you get that area clearance done and picked up from them. The flight to Oki says it's about 10 hours because it just looks like that on your ticket. It is not. It's like, probably with layovers, it's like 21 hours or so. I might be wrong. It might be longer than that, honestly. It took forever. So bring snacks, water, tablets, phones, Dramamine, everything, like anything to keep you busy. There was like we had movies on our plane, but I don't know if every plane is like that. I would say pack light, like bring as little stuff as you can, because you are hauling it around the airport and it is so frustrating, especially because there's like limited carts, and then like everyone has a cart and you're searching for a cart and you can't find one. I would just say like pack light, because I probably have worn a quarter of the clothes I brought, and it's just like you're in a hotel for 14 days, you can't go anywhere, you're not doing runway shows, okay? So I would just pack light. The other thing I would say, make sure like you're aware of what's like going on, so you're not missing things, because like our flight, it said like, oh, your gate's gonna be this gate, and we went there and they actually changed the gate like last minute, didn't tell anybody. So just be really like vigilant, like everything that's going on in the airport, everything, like all your paperwork, like double check everything, just because there's so many things that like you run into these issues that you didn't know were even issues because no one told you. So that's, I don't know if that's everyone, but that was an issue we ran into. If you're PCSing during this COVID time and there still is going to be like quarantine and ROM and all that, when you get to the airport, I had to pee so bad, and this is probably TMI, but we left the airport with all of our bags, and we had to like do all the paperwork for Bug, our dog, to get with us, and like to send the paperwork that we had. So I just was like, oh man, I didn't know I had to pee, like I had to pee. And we get in the car and our sponsor tells us like, yo, so we have to go straight to the hotel, no stops, and it's like a 35-minute drive from Kadena to Hansen. So I was like, I'm gonna die, but made it. It was fine. I just would suggest, if you have small kids or if you have a small bladder, just make sure you pee before you, like right when you get off the plane, or like right before you get in the car, because you cannot stop. The quarantine is super serious out here, and like you can't do anything. Like even to take our dog outside the hotel, we have to call the front desk and they have to tell us like it's okay to bring your dog outside. So that all is included. If there is stuff I'm missing, I'm sure there is, just put it in the comments and I can answer questions or make more videos. Yeah, so that's all I've got. Adios.